This is the story of the last Iranian Shah. His name was Mohammad Reza, and he would have an especially turbulent romantic life. Near the end of his life, during his exile, he would receive a letter from his long-lost love, the former Queen Soraya, and what was inside was truly heartbreaking. But more on this later. For now, let's start at the beginning. Mohammad Reza was born on October 26, 1919, in Tehran, Iran. However, he was not even born a prince. His father only became the ruler of the country in a coup d'etat in 1925. Thus, his family's grip on power would forever feel insecure. Young Mohammad did not have a nice childhood. His father was a terrifying man who imposed strict discipline on his young son, often kicking him in the groin and insisting on being addressed as Sir. This dysfunctional upbringing had a negative effect on the young prince, making him an incredibly nervous adolescent. As he had a poor relationship with his father, naturally he became much closer with his mother, someone who could be described as overbearing. His mother showered him with praise and told him how he would be destined for greatness. As he grew older, Mohammed was sent to a fancy boarding school in Switzerland. It was there that he lost his virginity, not to someone his own age, but to one of the school's maids. After school, he returned to Iran in 1936. His parents immediately forced him into an arranged marriage with Princess Fawzia of Egypt. It was all planned as a coming together of two great dynasties, but no one had considered what the young couple actually desired. Princess Fawzia was renowned for her beauty, but despite this, Prince Reza did not show much interest. They had two lavish weddings, one in Cairo and one in Tehran. Princess Fawzia would soon find out that her new husband was not intent on being faithful. Married life was not good for the young couple. With Mohammad Reza being unfaithful, it didn't help that Princess Fawzia did not get along with her mother-in-law and sisters-in-law. Despite their unhappiness, they did their duty and they had a child, a young girl named Princess Shahnaz. It would be their only child together. During this time, the prince was very unhappy. In a shocking revelation, he wrote in his memoirs that the only happy moment in this marriage was the birth of their daughter. In 1941, the Iranian political landscape underwent a seismic shift as Mohammad Reza's father, Reza Shah Pahlavi, was forced to abdicate the throne. As a result, Mohammad Reza ascended to the position of Shah, facing the daunting task of leading a nation grappling with both internal and external challenges. The sudden transition placed immense responsibility on his shoulders at a relatively young age. Amidst the complexities of his newfound role, Mohammad Reza's personal life also encountered a significant upheaval. In 1945, his marriage to Queen Fawzia encountered irreconcilable strains, leading to her departure from Iran and return to Egypt. This marital discord not only added to the Shah's personal struggles, but also became a subject of public interest and speculation. The dissolution of Mohammad Reza's marriage to Princess Fawzia took on deeper layers of intrigue and speculation, with the emergence of CIA documents shedding light on the underlying reasons behind their separation. According to these documents, the Shah was allegedly impotent, a revelation that had profound implications for both his personal life and his reign as Iran's monarch. The revelation of the Shah's purported impotence added a new dimension to the narrative surrounding his failed marriage. Princess Fawzia's refusal to remain silent about this deeply personal issue reportedly led to frequent conflicts and tensions between the royal couple. Her purported degradation of the Shah for his alleged impotence exacerbated an already strained relationship. The revelation of the Shah's alleged impotence not only cast a shadow over his personal life, but also had potential ramifications for the stability and legitimacy of his dynasty. In a society where notions of masculinity and virility held significant cultural and social currency, the revelation of the Shah's purported condition could have undermined his authority and standing among both the Iranian elite and the general populace. Vengeful and full of spite, Mohammad Reza forced the princess to give up custody of their 5-year-old daughter. She would not be able to see her very often, and only under strict circumstances. In 1949, shortly after his divorce, a would-be assassin fired several bullets at him. He would survive the attempt, but it left him with a scar on his face, one that he would in vain try to hide by growing out his mustache. As the Shah grappled with the personal and political challenges of his reign, rumors swirled about new romantic entanglements. During this period, the Shah's purported newfound appetite for female companionship became a subject of speculation, with whispers circulating about his alleged affairs with Hollywood actresses such as Jean Tierney and Yvonne DiCarlo. These rumored alliances with international celebrities added a layer of allure and mystique to the Shah's image, portraying him as a figure caught between the allure of Western decadence and the responsibilities of his role. However, amidst the glamour and allure of these rumored affairs, the Shah was unwittingly on the brink of yet another heartbreak. He didn't know it, but he was about to be entangled in a relationship that would prove to be even more tumultuous than his first marriage. This impending romantic entanglement would not only shape the course of his personal life, but also leave an indelible mark on his reign and the trajectory of his rule. The Shah had his eyes set on a woman named Soraya Esfandiari Bakhtiari. She was a young, half-German, half-Iranian socialite, and also happened to be a teenager. Despite their age difference, they both fell in love very quickly, with the Shah proposing to her within a week. However, on the eve of their wedding, the bride-to-be became very ill with typhoid. This was to be a bad omen for their marriage. The wedding was rescheduled for 6 weeks later. Married life did not get off to a great start for the new couple. It turned out Soraya had a vicious temper, even on one occasion breaking a precious vase during a dinner party. Things were not much better in the bedroom either. Soraya often banned the Shah from her bedroom, insisting he sleep outside the door on a cot. However, the Shah was also desperate to have a male heir from his new wife. For 3 years they tried, but to no success. The doctors later informed them that Queen Soraya was unfortunately infertile. During this terrible second marriage of the Shah, he became a bit of an egomaniac. He compared himself to the ruler of ancient Persia, Cyrus the Great, and insisted people call him the King of Kings. He even wanted people to tell him that he was one of the greatest leaders in the world, and even that America wanted him to be their leader. In 1958, his second marriage fell apart, and he and Queen Soraya announced their divorce to the world. He was very distraught by this, and even wept openly on at least one occasion. He would eventually marry for the third and final time, this time to a young Iranian woman named Farah Diba. She was very young and, unlike the previous wife, apparently fertile, as she was pregnant with a son right away. The son was named Crown Prince Reza. The Shah finally had an heir and a marriage, but that didn't mean his philandering ways would stop. Much to the dismay of his new wife, he would get his aides to procure him women, and said that if they didn't, he would fall into a depression. In the 1970s, the Shah got a new boost to his ego when Iran became a world leader in oil production. Suddenly, the Western world was licking his boot heels for favors, and he was enjoying it very much. However, in 1974, he was diagnosed with leukemia. Instead of being open about his diagnosis, he simply told people he had a cold. But by the late 1970s, his health had worsened to the point where he could not appear in public. He retreated to a resort on the Caspian Sea for a clandestine treatment, but he couldn't have picked a worse time. As the Shah was fighting for his life, the country was fighting him. The Iranian Revolution was just getting started, and there were calls for the Shah to step down. These protests were often led by the powerful Ayatollah Khomeini. Amidst the chaos of the revolution gripping Iran, the Shah found himself embroiled in a personal struggle that mirrored the chaos unfolding in the streets. For his health concerns, he was prescribed prednisone, a medication known for its potent effects on the body, including impairments to cognition and judgment. As the medication took its toll on his mental faculties, the Shah's ability to govern effectively became increasingly compromised, casting a shadow of uncertainty over his leadership during this time of crisis. The effects of prednisone, with its potential to cloud thinking and disrupt judgment, exacerbated the challenges facing the Shah as he grappled with the complexities of political upheaval and social unrest. While the revolution raged on, the true extent of the Shah's deteriorating condition remained a secret known only to a select few. As the Shah struggled to maintain a semblance of control amidst the chaos, the disconnect between his outward appearance of authority and the internal turmoil wrought by his health issues deepened the sense of uncertainty and instability engulfing Iran. His ability to navigate the challenges of the revolution was compromised by the debilitating effects of the medication and his sickness. During this time, his wife, Queen Farah, begged her husband to let her take over the affairs of ruling the country. However, being rather insecure, he always said no, as he perceived this might emasculate him. This only made things worse for himself. By 1979, the cries for revolution in Iran had grown so loud, and the Shah and his wife were forced to flee the country. Iran soon dissolved the monarchy, and the Shah was no more. For the next few months, the Shah would travel from country to country, seeking treatment for his illness and political asylum as well. In these dire times, the Shah became even more egocentric and delusional. On one occasion, one of his aides suggested that he apply for a Nobel Peace Prize, to which he vainly replied that if they begged him, only maybe would he accept it. He also had a strange obsession with the French leader Charles de Gaulle, whom he admired, in part because of his height, as he was a lanky 6'5". Strangely, the former Shah would insist that his aides refer to him as Iran's de Gaulle. But the most eccentric of his views was that his successes in life were due to the fact that he possessed mystical powers, and that he had received messages from God himself. Near the end of December 1979, the Shah found himself seeking refuge in Panama under the reluctant hospitality of Dictator General Omar Torrijos. Despite the facade of courtesy, Torrijos harbored a deep-seated animosity towards the exiled monarch, viewing his presence as a burden. To underscore his contempt for the exiled Shah, Torrijos went so far as to assign a bodyguard to the Shah, instructing him to subject the former leader to constant verbal abuse and humiliation. This calculated act of cruelty served as a stark reminder of the Shah's diminished status in the eyes of his host. It was during this time that the Shah would receive a tragic letter, one from his long-lost love, the former Queen Soraya. She had heard about his diagnosis and wrote a letter confessing that she still loved him. She also said that if he would have her, she wanted to see him one last time before he passed. It seems that they really were fairy tale lovers, as the Shah responded to Soraya that he had never stopped loving her as well, and that he wanted to say goodbye to her in person too. Unfortunately, he couldn't meet Soraya while his current wife, the ex-queen Farah Diba, was still around, so he begged Soraya to wait until they could meet, secretly and alone, in Cairo. He even enlisted the help of Egyptian President Anwar el-Sadat to get him to the city. Incredibly set on seeing Soraya, he flew to Cairo, despite being in an incredibly weak condition. However, before he could ever see Soraya again, he died. In his final moments, as the Shah confronted the inevitability of his own mortality, his thoughts turned not to personal regrets or worldly possessions, but to the land he had devoted his life to serving, Iran. With a heart heavy with longing and a mind filled with memories of his homeland, the Shah's last words reverberated with a profound sense of patriotism and devotion. "Iran is Iran," he murmured repeatedly, a mantra that encapsulated his unwavering commitment to the nation he had led for decades. Even in the confines of his hospital room, surrounded by the sterile trappings of modern medicine, the Shah kept a tangible connection to his beloved homeland. Beneath his bed, nestled away from prying eyes, lay a humble bag of Iranian soil, a poignant symbol of his enduring bond with the land and people he had dedicated his life to serving. In his final moments, the Shah's unwavering nationalism shone brightly, illuminating the depths of his love for Iran and underscoring the profound impact he had made on its history and destiny. I hope you liked the video, and if you want to see more of this kind of content, please like and subscribe to Factinate.